Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842, was one of the most protracted and violent conflicts between the United States and Native American groups, and at its heart was a struggle for survival against removal policies that threatened to uproot and destroy entire communities. However, behind the resistance of the Seminoles stood an often overlooked but equally significant force: Black Native leaders. These men and women, many of whom were formerly enslaved Africans who found refuge among the Seminole, played a crucial role in shaping the course of the war. Their knowledge of the terrain, leadership abilities, and military expertise were instrumental in prolonging the war and challenging U.S. expansionist policies. Yet their stories are often overshadowed by broader narratives that focus primarily on Native resistance alone. By examining the lives, actions, and sacrifices of Black Native leaders in the Second Seminole War, one can uncover a chapter of American history that speaks to resilience, unity, and the ongoing struggle for freedom. The historical roots of Black-Native alliances stretch back to the early colonial period when enslaved Africans in the southeastern United States sought refuge among Native American tribes. Among these tribes, the Seminoles provided one of the most well-documented sanctuaries. The Spanish, who controlled Florida before it was ceded to the United States in 1819, encouraged this alliance, viewing escaped slaves as a buffer against Anglo-American expansion. As a result, a distinct community of Black Seminoles emerged, blending African traditions with Native customs and language. Over time, these Black Seminoles became integral members of Seminole society, contributing to their agricultural, economic, and military life. By the time the Second Seminole War erupted, Black Seminoles held positions of leadership within the resistance movement. One of the most prominent figures was John Horse, also known as Wancaballo. John Horse was a powerful military leader and diplomat who worked tirelessly to ensure the survival of his people. He was a trusted lieutenant of the famed Seminole war leader Osceola and played a key role in organizing military strategies against U.S. forces. Unlike many of the Native Seminole leaders, John Horse was also fluent in English and Spanish, which made him a critical intermediary between the Seminoles and outside parties. His leadership extended beyond warfare. He was also deeply involved in negotiations and efforts to secure safe passage for Black Seminoles who feared re-enslavement if captured. Another key figure in the resistance was Abraham, a Black Seminole leader who had served as an interpreter and advisor to the great Seminole chief Micanopy. Abraham was instrumental in shaping the Seminole response to U.S. military campaigns, using his deep understanding of American politics to aid the war effort. He was known for his diplomatic acumen, often engaging in negotiations with American officials while simultaneously working to strengthen the resistance. Despite his efforts to secure a peaceful resolution, Abraham was acutely aware of the broken promises of the U.S. government and played a significant role in fortifying Seminole strongholds in the dense Florida swamps. The United States military underestimated the strategic acumen of these Black Native leaders. Unlike many Native American conflicts where European-descended officers assumed their opponents would engage in conventional battles, the Second Seminole War was defined by guerrilla tactics. The Seminoles and their Black allies utilized Florida's difficult terrain, swamps, forests, and rivers to conduct hit-and-run attacks, ambush supply lines, and evade capture. The Black Native leaders understood that survival depended on adaptation and mobility, and they ensured that their forces were never pinned down by superior U.S. numbers. The role of Black Native leaders extended beyond battlefield strategy. They also served as cultural and spiritual anchors for their people. The fear of being forcibly relocated to Indian territory in what is now Oklahoma was compounded by the risk of re-enslavement, particularly for the Black Seminoles. Leaders like John Horse recognized the precarious nature of their existence and sought ways to secure their people's freedom. Even after the war officially ended in 1842, the struggle for Black Seminole independence continued. Many were relocated to Indian Territory, where they faced discrimination not only from U.S. authorities, but also from Creek and Cherokee slaveholders who sought to re-enslave them. John Horse would later lead a group of Black Seminoles to Mexico, where they were granted land and freedom in exchange for military service to the Mexican government. The Second Seminole War remains one of the most significant yet underrepresented conflicts in American history. While the war is often remembered for figures like Osceola and the prolonged resistance of the Seminoles, the contributions of Black Native leaders were just as vital. These men and women fought not just for their land but for their freedom, forging alliances that challenged the racial and social hierarchies of the time. Their resistance delayed U.S. expansion into Florida and set a precedent for future Black Native solidarity in the face of oppression. Today, the legacy of Black Native leaders in the Second Seminole War continues to inspire discussions about race, identity, and resistance in American history. Their struggle underscores the complexity of racial and cultural interactions in the antebellum South and highlights the resilience of those who fought against both colonialism and slavery. By remembering and honoring their contributions, we gain a more nuanced understanding of the fight for freedom that shaped the United States in ways still felt today.